all the weird ones have to fly at night. Don't ask us, we're just the Disenfranchised Podcast. That podcast all about those franchises of one, those films that fancy themselves full-fledged franchises before falling flat on their face after the first film. I am your host, Stephen Foxworthy, and joining me as always, the man who knows what you have to do to get that picture from that morgue attendant, it's Tucker. Hey, Tucker.
Hello, Stephen. How are you this evening?
Doing all right, my friend.
That's
all
fabulous.
right. How about yourself?
I love that. You know, I'm okay.
Right on.
I'm good. There's a lot of snow here, man. It's snowing.
Same. Big same.
A lot.
It's been snowing pretty constantly since about like Saturday. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We only got about 5 inches, but
I think we got about 2 or 3. Yeah. And even I think further away from the lake, I think they got more. But here in the city, we got a little less. So yeah.
I have to take the snow thrower out tomorrow. I hate that fucking thing.
I can't blame you, dude.
It's made for a man twice my size because it's like an industrial one. It's not like one you buy for your house.
Sure.
Because it belongs to the campground, obviously. Right. And it's made for a man at least twice my size.
Someone more like a Brett.
Yeah, I struggle with it, and like the force that it takes to hold down the triggers on the handles, like gives me cramps in my hands and stuff. And like I'm not a weak dude. I wouldn't say I'm a strong dude, but I'm certainly not a weak dude. But that thing, fucking it's out of control, man. It's really heavy. It's hard to use. It sucks.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, I've always been
better than shoveling, though.
I was gonna say, I've always been the guy that you just throw a shovel in my hand and then I just go.
Shoveling. Shoveling. I
got really good at it when I was a homeowner, and I haven't had to do it in a few years, and I don't miss it. I gotta say.
Ooh, boy. That's hard on your back. That's hard on my back, at least.
It is, and my back's already not doing great because I've been carrying boxes and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, dude. Lifting with your back instead of your legs, Stephen. What'd I tell you about that?
You know, I'm also, carrying around more weight than I probably should. And speaking of Brett, he got on a late flight out of a tiny airport in the middle of nowhere. We wish him a happy, safe, and speedy return. But until then, Tucker, you and I are desperately avoiding talking about the movie that we're talking about tonight.
Fuck this movie.
This is week 2 of the Kingening, the drawing of 3, wherein we talk about 3 Stephen King adaptations. Last week we talked about the great film Christine with our friend Rachel Reeves. This week,
that's pretty good.
A significantly less good film, I would say. Tucker, what are we covering this week?
We are covering 1997's HBO presents The Night Flier.
Stephen King's The Night Flier. Mark Pavia's Stephen King's The Night Flier. Directed by who? Mark Pavia. Who? Pavia. Yeah.
Who?
And written by Pavia and Jack O'Donnell. Starring Miguel Ferrer and a veritable Who's That of an ensemble cast, including Julie Entwistle, Dan Monahan, Michael H. Moss, Don Bennis, Beverly Skinner, Rob Wilds, Richard K. Olsen, and a bunch of other people most of you have probably never heard of. What a cast, Tucker. What a picture.
Hey, man, I love Miguel Ferrer. He's fantastic.
Too.
I love him in everything, and even though I hated this character, I can respect that he was doing a fantastic job in this movie.
There is the scene in which he is impersonating the FBI agent. I got a little bit excited because it seemed like he was channeling Albert Rosenfeld from Twin Peaks for a little bit. And I just got really excited because I'm like, oh, it's Albert. And then he was back to playing Richard Nuts Dees.
Dees Nuts.
Basically, it is pretty much impossible to not... because everyone's calling his character Dees the whole movie. So
call him by his last name.
The whole fucking movie. I mean, it's 1997. Who's gonna know that that's gonna become a thing in like 20 to 30 years?
It's been a thing, man. Like
since 1997.
The first Dees Nuts joke that I ever heard in mainstream media, not just amongst friends years before this, but 1992's The Chronic by Dr. Dre. Snoop Dogg does a really bad D's. He doesn't even do it right. It's like, I love you, Snoop, but like, what the fuck is your D's nuts joke? Because
well, I mean, if he's the first one to use it, how can he be doing it wrong?
Well, he's not the first one to use it. It's the first time that I heard it in mainstream media. Like I said, it's something that you said as a kid. It was a funny thing. It was a joke. It was like, that's what she said with the kids today. Or
I was going to say, I don't even think the kids are doing that anymore. But yeah, understood.
But at one point they were. But D's Nuts was a thing before 1992. I'm just saying that's the first time I heard it. Like. Out in the real world, outside of just friend groups and stuff. And a D's nuts joke, you have to end it with D's. Like you'd say, homie, are you going out to ride on some D's? D's nuts? But so when Snoop Dogg does it, though, in The Chronic, it's terrible because he calls up this girl, right? He calls up this girl and he's like, hey, what you doing? Like, they have a little bit of small talk and he's like, hey, what's his name? Get a hold of you? And she's like, who? And he says, D's nuts. It's like, Snoop, like, that's a good effort, but I don't think you understood the assignment, unfortunately.
In fairness, he had probably been putting the theme of the song into Mass Effect up to that point. And so I think we can forgive Snoop this indiscretion.
Yeah. I forgive him for sure. But still, it's just a really weird example because it might have been in other records or maybe even a movie or two before that. It's just not anything that I have experienced.
Sure. And I mean, I think we could also, speaking of forgiveness, probably forgive Stephen King for when he wrote this story in 1988, or at least published it in 1988, not having any familiarity with a D's nuts joke or reference. So
that's, if I ever meet Stephen King, that's what we're going to talk about. If I ever meet Stephen King, I'll be like,
he'll probably look you dead in the eye and go, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like, hey man, you remember Night Flier? He'll be like, yeah. And I'll be like, what was that character's name? The main guy, what they always call him? He'd be like, D's.
Richard D's?
D's nuts! And I'd just walk away after that. Just walk away in the other direction.
Here's the thing. I'm sure you would not be the first person to do that.
No, probably not. Maybe not. I don't know.
Not.
I'm sure he's aware of the reference at this point.
At this point, I would hope so. I mean, he is a cultural icon. But again, I think even if he's not, I think we could probably forgive him. But he is fairly online, from what I understand. Like he's using the socials.
And like, I don't know, to counter that, like if I told my parents a D's nuts joke, they would have no idea what I'm talking about, and they're younger than Stephen King, actually. Not by much, but but younger.
But again, I think
I don't know.
King being online and being, the cultural mainstay that he is, I think probably it gives him a better chance than most people his age of knowing what that is.
Stephen, are you saying that Stephen King knows about D's?
He might, is what I'm saying.
About D's nuts?
Again, yes, that is what I'm suggesting.
I can't stop. We have to move on, or else this will never end. It will be 2 hours of D's nuts jokes.
Here's the thing. As I was watching this movie this afternoon in preparation for this recording, I could just picture you sitting in your living, sitting on that couch right behind you there, screaming D's nuts at your TV every time someone called him D's.
Time.
And it happens a lot.
They overlapped sometimes. There was overlapping D's nutses in a round, if you will.
I might. Oh God. Yeah. Look, is it going to happen at some point, multiple times throughout the course of this recording? Yes. In fact, if you want to make a fun game of it, every time Tucker says D's nuts, take a shot.
Oh, I don't know about. I don't want to get anybody put in the hospital, though.
I mean, if you please drink responsibly. Disenfranchised podcast, not responsible. Blah blah blah. But if you want to make a game of it.
Speaking of Richard D's, that's Dick D's nuts.
Dickie D's.
Speaking of Richard D's, wasn't that like a popular DJ back in the day?
Rick D's, yeah.
Rick D's in the morning.
Yeah.
Or straight up some kind of top 40.
He had one of those big crazy voices, Rick D's. Yeah, I think so. I don't know if he was in our market?
I remember listening. I know the name. I'm very familiar with the name. Like, I'm sure if I heard the voice, I would recognize it.
I know the name mostly from people imitating the voice. That's what I know.
I'm very familiar with Rick D's. D's nuts.
I was waiting for it. I was like, give it a second. It's gonna happen. If you give him a long enough leash, he will hang himself. It's gonna happen.
There's a pause. You can't just. There's an art to a D's nuts joke. That's why the Snoop Dogg one is so disappointing, because he's just like, oh, I can do a throwaway D's nuts jokes. No, man, you just can't. This is important. This means something.
Okay. Okay, Ricky. Ricky D. Ricky Dreyfuss.
Yeah, dude. So what about Rick D's?
No, Rick D's. He's American radio personality, top 40 entertainer. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So he was at the radio show. That was outside of the D's nuts jokes. Every time they mentioned his first name, I was like, oh yeah, that DJ though.
Yeah. Yeah. Who is not in this movie?
He's not.
Honestly, better movie.
Put him in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
There's not much to look forward to in this movie.
No, I mean, look, I was looking forward to Miguel Ferrer, and then about halfway through this movie, I was like, this has got to be almost over, right? Nope.
No, dude. I was a half hour into it, and I couldn't believe I hadn't been sitting there for 3 or 4 days.
Right. Yeah. I told you in the text thread that we have going, it's like this. The pacing seemed like this movie was edited by the love child of a sloth and a snail. Like it just crawled.
And there's a good story there. That's a fun little pitch. It's a fun concept.
It's just not something that should be stretched to feature length.
No, dude, this is a fucking Tales from the Crypt episode. That's what this is.
100%.
You shave a half an hour off of this, 40 minutes maybe. You got a tight little Tales from the Crypt episode.
This thing should be 75 minutes max.
Yeah, this should be Booty Tang length for sure.
This is 98 minutes, which again, compared to most movies that come out right now, is leisure. Like that is brisk, baby. But it still feels like a movie that was released today. It drags so hard. And I don't know if it was just the transfer that I saw, probably was. But it looked like a made for TV movie.
How could you tell what it looked like in 360p, Steven?
Okay.
How could were you, if you were watching on your phone, maybe were you watching on your phone?
Yeah.
Oh, well then that's it's maybe acceptable.
Cuz my partner was working and I had to watch it on my phone in the other room.
Well, it's shot like a TV film. But I watched once. I saw how horrible the quality was on the first option on YouTube. Right. I checked the other one out just in case, and it was running at 480p, and I can tolerate standard def. I'd prefer to put it on my CRT, but I wasn't trying to fuck with that at the moment.
Sure.
So there was a lot of digital artifacts and some tear ups in the back, but when it mattered, it looked good enough for me not to be distracted.
Sure. Yeah. But no, but again, to piggyback off,
it's shot like a TV movie. Yeah,
it is shot like a TV movie. Like this is so the director of this film. I'm gonna go right for it. Mark Pavia is the director. This is his first feature film. Before this, he had directed a short film entitled Drag that came out in 1993. His only other credit is an unrated film. I don't know if it was direct to DVD or if it was a TV movie or what. A horror thriller called Fender Bender from 2016.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of producer credits though.
He does. He is a producer. But most of the stuff that he is a producer on is not stuff that I would consider stuff I'd want to see. And his producer credits start in 2016. Like they start there. So I don't know what he was doing between 97 and 2016,
Just
but not
farting
much.
Around, dude. Figuring his shit out. Like that's sometimes you gotta take some time off, figure your shit out.
And he is married to the female lead of this movie.
Yeah, the gal, the Entwistle?
Julie Entwistle. Yeah.
Hey.
No relation to Peg Entwistle.
Not related to the dude, the bassist for The Who?
Probably not, no.
Okay.
She's in one other movie.
Yo, wait.
Literally one other movie.
Can I tell you that I saw The Who once at Deer Creek?
Oh yeah,
and it was.
That's right. We're actual Hoosiers. We don't call it whatever the hell they're calling it, Ruoff Mortgage, whatever.
Look, I would respect its name and call it what it is, but it changes its name so much. I don't know what it is now. Like if I knew what it was, I would call it by a proper name, but I'd say also known as Deer Creek. But
right.
Anyway, I saw them there. I saw The Who at Deer Creek, and this was maybe 2 weeks after John Eston, the bassist guy, he had died.
Oh, okay.
And they had just some bass player that they had or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing My Generation, and it's got the breakdown bass solos and that that kind of stuff. And during the last little break solo part, it's a really difficult part, and the dude, I don't know if he messed it up on purpose, just like out of respect.
Okay.
But like he totally messed it up, but he recovered from it, and like everyone cheered. So it was a good moment anyway.
Okay.
Look, I know that wasn't very relevant to what we were talking about, but I rarely get to tell that story, but it's a memory that's like something that I think about often for some reason.
It looks like that bass player is Pino Palladino, Giuseppe Henry Pino Palladino. He is a Welsh musician, songwriter, and record producer.
With the guy I saw them with?
Yep, that is him.
Oh, nice. Steve, he was on the ball, dude.
That's what happened.
I wasn't even trying to figure that out, and here you are. You got the answer right here.
While you were telling that story, I was looking for information about touring members of The Who, and sure enough, Wikipedia had me covered. So yeah, he actually toured with the band through 2017.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's cool.
So, but yeah,
Robert
took
Plant.
Over. Yeah,
Robert Plant opened for them on that show.
Okay, and
it was pretty all right. He did like I didn't think he was gonna do it because I don't know if anybody was into it but me. But he did. I'm in a mood for a melody.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of a silly kind of cheesy song, but I also love it. And it's cheesy in the way that I Got My Mind Set on You is kind of cheesy. George Harrison's.
I love George Harrison's I Got My Mind Set on You, though.
I do too. And did you know that's a remake? That's like an old fucking jazz standard.
Really?
Did you know that? Look that up too. When this podcast is over, look up the original versions of I Got My Mind Set on You.
I also like the Weird Al cover of that song.
Yeah, this song is just 6 words long.
Which is 7 words, but yeah. The irony dude. Not lost on me, but yeah.
No, dude.
This song is just 6 words long. This song is just 6 words
And that is a testament. I've been a fan of both songs for many, many years. I'd say almost, 3/4 of my life.
Sure.
And I will say that is a testament to how good Weird Al's band is. Because if you took the vocals out of both of those versions and played them together, it would just be one thing.
Yeah.
They're fucking fantastic.
There was a Christian version, because again, growing up as a conservative, there was a Christian parody group that did Christian parodies obnoxiously.
What?
Christian
Fuck, how did I
parodies.
not know about this? I was like way into Audio Adrenaline and like DC Talk
Oh yeah.
and Jars of Clay and shit back in the day. How did I not know about this? That's right up my alley.
I have no idea how you didn't know about this, dude. I actually got really excited once because I heard them singing. I heard someone playing. I was in like a church, or at a youth event, like, and I heard someone playing Sweet Home Alabama, and I got really excited, going, "Oh my gosh, they're playing!" And I know how you feel about that song, but I was just like, oh yeah, this is great. Why, they're playing this here. No, it was the parody version, Sweet Home Over Jordan.
Hey, whoa, hey, I like that. I like that. That's cool. What is this group called? I have to listen to everything they've ever released. What are they called?
I am the ApologetiX, but it's ApologetiX with an X.
Okay, APOL.
APOLOGETIX.
TIX.
They also have a parody of The Devil Went Down to Georgia. The Devil Went Down to Jordan.
Monkeys for uncles for money for nothing. Yes.
Yes.
Monkeys for uncles.
The Devil Went Down to Jordan.
Baja were lambs for Barbara Ann from Beach Boys.
Yeah.
I'm so into all of this. Do these guys tour? I want to go to their show.
They probably do. I don't know if they're still together, but I remember like one of the things that they did, they got mad props from Weird Al at one point because they actually did the work that Weird Al's band would do and tried to sound like the groups they were covering. Like they actually did it. And so they got props for Weird Al for that. And actually, John Bermuda Schwartz is on one of their albums.
Yes.
So
I love that. I'm listening to every song they've ever released, and I'm doing it after I watch the season finale of Fargo and after I watch Undercover Brother. That's the next thing on my list.
Lazy Brain, which is a cover of Crazy Train.
Yes, but the best one is Shepherd's Paradise.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of Story of a Squirrel.
But I need it.
This is the story of a squirrel. The God said would drown the whole world.
That's some shit I would like amuse myself with while listening to that song. Like, I love this. I'm way into this. I can't wait to listen to this and report back to you and have this conversation on What Are We Watching, because I'm so fucking into this.
If you want to hear the conclusion of this conversation, it is going to happen on a What Are We Watching
on that Patreon,
which can only be found behind our paywall. $5 a month, patreon.com/disenfranchpod. And you can
find Grandmama for Smooth Criminal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so into that. Corinthians instead of In the End. Mm-hmm. That's La Bible instead of La Baba. I can't stop. This is amazing.
It's ridiculous is what it is.
I'm so excited. Enter Samson
instead of Enter Sandman. Yeah. The real sin savior instead of the real Slim Shady.
Steven, you have straight up made my life. Look, my life existed before I knew about this, and it's going to exist after. But this is a chapter break, Steven. This is happening live on mic during a main feed episode.
All of our listeners get to hear it now.
Look, I haven't listened to any of this, but you've changed my life.
We'll see. Like, again, I look forward to checking in with you next week and see if your life is still changed after listening to this shit. So
another one died for us, Steve.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Correct. He did.
So more than one?
Nope.
Who's the other guy? Because it's another one.
It's us. Another one died for us, so we don't have to.
So other people have died, but this guy also died. So that's
He died for our salvation, so that we would not have. He just did
it for a different reason, not because time or whatever.
I mean, do you want to get into the theological ramifications of the crucifixion? Because we can.
Kind of, but
this is not an episode of Oops All Christianity Corner.
On the Patreon, check that out at patreon.com/disenfranchised disenfranched pod.
If you like
that.
hearing me get into the nitty gritty of the Christian faith, boy howdy, have we got a show for you, and it's behind the paywall.
Steven, hell smells.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. Mostly like brimstone, but you know.
I love all of this. I'm
I
so
know you do.
happy. Steven, you've made me so happy. You know, when this episode's over and you lay yourself down in your bed, just know that you have made your friend so happy.
So to steer you away from happiness and back to the Night Flier, which is why we're actually here to talk about. We were talking about Julie Entwistle, who has been in one other movie other than the Night Flier. She plays a student in the Academy Award nominated film In and Out, starring Kevin Kline.
Of the director, though, right?
She is, and that's why she's never done another thing.
I mean, she's not bad.
She
could do TV. She could be in films, I feel like.
And I don't know what she's been doing. I don't know if it was like a Phoebe Cates I'm retiring situation or what, but like she was in this movie and just pieced out. She was done. Hasn't done anything. Maybe it just wasn't for her. I don't know. Ultimately I don't know.
Sometimes you do a thing and it's lots of fun, but you're like, I'm good. That's all I need.
That was a chapter in my life, and that chapter is over, and I'm moving on.
That's a job I had, and now I'm gonna see what else there is.
Exactly, and maybe that was her. I don't know. I can't speak to it. I am not Julie Entwistle, nor do I know her, so I cannot.
Is she on Cameo?
I have my doubts.
I wonder if we could ask her. Could we be like, "Hey, man, what? Straight up, what are you up to?"
Me going to not me going to Cameo right now.
You are.
I am. Of course, I am.
That's what I appreciate about you, Steven.
No, she is not there. But Panamanian soccer legend Julio Daly is.
Yeah, but what about, is Ernie Hudson on there? Can you check?
Of course, Ernie Hudson is absolutely on camera.
Yeah, but what if he's not still on there? What if he like got sick of it? Like we checked it months ago.
I mean, Ernie Hudson, actor Ghostbusters, is absolutely on Cameo, and there is a picture of him in his Winston Zeddemore onesie. And
can I tell you, Steven, that
you can tell me anything?
I have a phrase. It's kind of an original phrase that I throw around whenever I still have my hat on in the house. Because like a lot of times I'll put my hat on to go out and do stuff. Like I was in the military, so like I got used to that, like put your hat on when you leave a building and taking it off when you come in. So it's just like muscle memory.
I've seen you wear hats numerous times on numerous occasions.
So when I still have my hat on and I don't mean to, I will say I am Ernie Hudson in The Crow right now. To myself, not to anyone else. No one else cares. But to myself, I'll say that. And yeah.
You know who would appreciate that?
Brett.
Our friend Brett Wright, whose favorite movie is Ghostbusters, and one of his other favorite movies is The Crow. You would think his favorite actor is Ernie Hudson, but somehow it's not.
You would
though I still would at some point like to get him an Ernie Hudson cameo. I just cannot afford it at this time.
No, we're gonna do it. When's his birthday? What's Brett's birthday?
It's in June, mid-June.
Oh, hey man, I'm rich in the summer, dude.
Okay.
I could swing that probably. Just remind me, man, because we're gonna do it. I know we've talked about it before.
We have most behind the paywall. So now that we're talking about it on Maine feed, like he's gonna hear about it, I'm sure.
Nah, he won't. He don't listen to this shit. Are you kidding?
But Brett, we thank you for doing so.
Brett, if you listen to this shit, blink twice. I don't know how that's going to resolve, but we'll figure it out.
I'm sure he'll blink twice at some point in his life.
I'll be like, there it is.
Instinctively, in wherever he is right now, Brett blinked twice, just instinctively, just
probably
as though he knew you were saying it. Anyway, The Night Flier. Big oof on this movie, man. I
fucking hate this movie.
Oof. You heard it here first. Tucker hates The Night Flier.
I really do. Like, there's a few like moments that are mildly interesting, but outside of that, man, fuck off with this movie for sure.
Tucker, do you think we should probably just get the plot? We're a half hour into this, and we've barely touched on the movie itself. Do you think we should just go ahead and get the plot and 60 over with?
Let's do that. Editing point right now, future Tubi. But first, I have to pee.
Okay. All right.
We'll be right back. You should pee too. Do you have to pee?
Um,
Mildly?
let me go ahead and pee. I peed
You
before
might
I
as well.
came, but let me go ahead
You
and
could
pee
probably.
and grab another drink. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, grab your drink. I'll just
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah.
5 minutes later.
Oh shit. I gotta get my ashtray of coins.
No, you don't. You don't. You don't.
I don't.
You don't.
That's so exciting.
You're going to have to feign that same level of excitement when we get on the recording. So I was going to save that for the recording.
We're already on the recording. Okay.
I know, but we
haven't. No. I'll be just as excited. We had just agreed to do the plot in 60 seconds.
Right. For those of you just joining us for the first time, first of all, why this episode? But second of all, the plot in 60 is the part of the show where we will recount the plot of the film we're watching in 60 seconds or less, usually at the behest of the Canadian Quarter of Indifference, or if Brett is here, the D6 of Destiny. But not today. Because today, friends, I moved. And in the process of moving, I found an old friend who is making
back.
A triumphant return to the podcast. That's right. The coin of justice has returned.
Yes, dude.
After taking a lengthy and well-deserved vacation in 2023.
Months.
The coin of justice. A year. I moved up here in
there it is.
December. There it is, right there.
What a beauty. Look at
Lady
that.
Justice herself.
There she is.
There it is. Man,
and where's this from? Where is it from again?
The coin of justice?
Yeah,
I don't know. Where'd you get it?
No, it says on the back,
Gibraltar?
Yeah, dude.
This is
Gibraltar. Damn near rectum.
Good try.
That's it. I did it that time, right?
Gibraltar, I hardly know her.
There it is.
Fuck. One troy ounce, 999 fine silver is what it says on this coin.
Dude.
It is £1 sterling, literally £1 sterling, from 2021. I should post a picture of this on the socials once this episode drops. Yes, please do. Front and back, just so people know what this beauty looks like.
It's a beaut, and put like a banana for scale on one picture too, so they know how big it is.
Like I have a banana.
How do you not have a banana? How do you not get Charlie horses all the time, Steven, if you don't eat bananas?
Fun story, I do.
You do get Charlie horses all the time?
All the time.
You need more potassium, dude. Eat them nannies, dude.
You need more potassium, bitch.
Eat them straight old nanners, dude.
Anyway, now that the coin of justice has returned, we can do this like we did. And there's just the two of us, Tucker. We can do this like we did in the old days.
Yeah, dude.
In the before times, in the long ago, before there was even a Tucker. Before there was even a Tucker, this is how
I was even born.
Sure. Tucker got very serious there for a second.
Yes, dude.
So I'm gonna go ahead and flip the coin of justice. You call her in the air.
Okay, it's tails.
It is heads.
Hey, okay.
Which means that it is your responsibility, sir, to recount the plot in 60 seconds.
It's a half-hour story stretched out to an hour and a half, so I got this.
Pretty much is. Yeah, I am going to put 60 seconds on the clock right now, and I will start whenever you are ready to begin.
So there's this guy, and it's Miguel Ferrer, and he works for like a grocery store tabloid, like the Bat Boy tabloids, right? You know what I'm saying? Like all the really crazy ones that are completely unbelievable. And there's a new lady, and she calls her Jimmy, which is funny because it made me think of Jimmy. But then they hear about this dude, and he's a straight up vampire, and he's flying around in an airplane. And so the gal, Jimmy, is going to do it. But then Miguel Ferrer, because he's a stupid piece of shit asshole, is like, nah, fuck you, I'm doing it. And there's this weird where she tears it up out of anger, but then like, it's really weird and everybody's happy and she's throwing it in the air, and I don't understand that scene, but whatever. Anyway, Miguel Ferrer, aka Deez, gets too close, and eventually the vampire is like, fuck you, I'm gonna make you a straight up vampire and pretend like you killed all these people that I straight up killed. And then there's actually some cool shit for about 45 seconds. And then Jimmy is like, haha, fuck you, Miguel Ferreira. You're the story now, bitch.
That is time.
That was good. That was the whole plot, right?
Basically, yeah.
I intentionally left out the guy with the accent because fuck that guy.
Oh, you mean discount
close
Fred
your
Gwynn?
mouth. Close your mouth. Close your fucking mouth. Jesus.
Now, Tucker, you live in New England currently.
I do. So I get a nice mix of like a Vermont accent and a Maine accent and a Massachusetts accent. So I've heard it all ad nauseum. I know them all pretty well.
So I guess having only visited New England a couple of times and really only going so far as Massachusetts when I do.
Oh, damn.
I don't know that I've ever heard a Maine accent. Are they really that pronounced?
No.
Don't want to go down that road.
No, you don't want to go down that road. No, like
Round
people don't talk that
saw.
slow. That's what bothered me about his. Like, I get he was kind of doing an impression of an impression. He was obviously doing Homeboy from Pet Sematary, Herman
Gwynn.
Munster.
Yeah.
Yes,
the late great Fred Gwynn.
But what Fred Gwynn did right is that he did make it a little over the top.
Right.
But not so over the top that you couldn't take him seriously. But this guy goes fucking... This guy's trying to do a Broadway Maine accent. And motherfucker, you're in a TV movie. Calm that shit down.
Right.
And close your mouth.
The actor's name is John Bennis. And
also close your mouth.
One of two notes that I wrote...
Trim your eyebrows.
One of two notes that I wrote in my show notes for this episode is John Bennis is giving discount Fred Gwynn from Pet Sematary, because he is absolutely like, this is the bargain basement. We can't afford a Fred Gwynn impersonator budget kind of stuff. Like, we blew our budget on Miguel Ferrer. He's our name. He's the son of Jose Ferrer and Rosemary Clooney. That's Hollywood royalty. We can't afford anyone else, so we'll get the director's wife and this guy who heard who was a really big fan of Pet Sematary, and we'll get them to be in this movie. Got yourself a Night Flier there, I see.
Oh my god. I really,
and then,
of course, he
plays that on the recorder like 3 times. Night Flier. Got yourself a Night Flier. Night Flier. Night Flier.
Yeah, dude. We get it. We have a title. Title card. Let's go.
And you do the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing or the Peter Griffin. He said it. Like, yeah, it's yes, we know. And then, of course, after that, they say it. Everyone says it like 20 times after that. We're calling him the Night Flier now. And then we get the slow where she's typing out like one finger at a time Night Flier on her old 80s like word processor. Like, oh my god, come on.
This is all very interesting, Stephen.
Is it?
But let me ask you, why are we covering this movie? When were they like, oh shit, we got to make a sequel to this?
So Stephen King himself actually wrote, with the director Mark Pavia, wrote a follow-up script called Fear of Flying. And it was going to focus on the character of Catherine Blair, who is the Jimmy. He calls her Jimmy in reference to Jimmy Olsen, the cub reporter at the Daily Planet in the old Superman comics.
And in that last article, you see that she's adopted that as a nickname too.
Right. Yeah.
Which that was another like 2 seconds that I enjoyed of this movie.
Sure.
There aren't many of them, but I try to treasure them and hold on to them because there's so fucking few.
They're rare. They're few and far between, so you treasure the ones you find.
Yes.
I mean, they become valuable by proxy because everything else is worthless.
Yeah, dude.
But it would focus on her character, and because we see her turn to the dark side at the end of this film, and it would focus on her continual descent as she, does what she can to track down the story, and would probably focus on some other form of supernatural beastie. I don't have a lot of details about the scripts, but at the end, she basically tells the cops that Richard D's nuts was take a shot, everybody.
Nuts.
Testicles. But she basically tells the cops that Richard Dees was the Night Flier and again, it's kind of perfect. He owns his own private plane. Like, it all kind of works out just a
He
little
sets
too
himself
neatly.
up for it.
He
He
pretty
really
much
does.
does. And the fact that in those 45 seconds, he sees all the people, like, because
like,
again,
just drive to Maine. Just drive to Maine.
Come
on, man. It's not that far. It's a nice fucking drive. Just drive to Maine.
Particularly in the fall. Like, the foliage is beautiful up that way.
Dude, you don't have to tell me.
I know I don't have to tell you. I'm telling our listeners who may or may not live in New England.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that this was a podcast and not just like us talking about a movie.
I mean, that's essentially what it is. The fact that people want to listen to us talk about movies amazes me sometimes.
Look,
really
I'm
does.
proud. I'm proud. Look, we don't have, like, in the grand scheme of things, we don't have a huge amount of listeners, but that like 1 to 200 people that we can usually count on each week, that's there's over 100 people each week that want to like hear me talk about some dumbass movie.
And listen,
Brad,
I am amazed, but I am overwhelmingly honored and so appreciative of each and every one of you.
It's true.
I cannot stress that enough. That anyone like that I feel like if I don't record myself talking about a silly movie once a week, that like somewhere someone is not going to be able to like listen, and this is a part of someone's week that they will willingly do. Like, I'm grateful, eternally grateful. Thank you all so much for listening to this thing and for letting us do this very silly thing.
It's kind of the raddest shit ever.
It really is. It's pretty great.
Outside of being on stage and performing music, it's probably like it's probably my legacy, man.
I would say being on stage and performing theater, personally.
That and my gamer score. I'm gonna put my gamer score on my tombstone.
Oh, you're one of those. Okay.
Just to gloat. Look, I just surpassed 90,000 gamer score. I've been working on that for almost 15 years.
I don't know. I think I'm going to keep it simple. My full name, Stephen Edward Foxworthy, and then just like the date of my life.
And then a picture of me.
No.
And I don't know why, but that would be rad.
No.
No, a bust of me on top of your tombstone.
You know, my favorite tombstone ever is Jack Lemmon's, and it just says Jack Lemmon in.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect. Yeah. It's just perfect. I love it.
Is it what's the guy who does the Law and Order?
That's Jerry Orbach.
No. Who it's always like executive produced by. It's the whole meme.
Dick Wolf.
Yes. Do you think is Dick Wolf dead?
No.
Because when he dies though, wouldn't that be rad?
I mean, yes.
If I were Dick Wolf, I would so do that. And I fucking hate memes, but that one's great.
You're not a fan of memes.
I am not.
Dick Wolf's still out there kicking it, man.
Good. I don't know how old that motherfucker is. He's been doing TV forever.
He's been alive since December 20th, 1946.
Yeah, he's getting up there. He's hanging on.
He is, man. And he's still producing shit, man. He was executive producer on FBI Most Wanted, FBI International, Law and Order Special Victims Unit, Law and Order Organized Crime, Chicago PD. He does all those Chicago shows too. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude.
Dick Wolf's a fucking maniac. I love that guy. Fucking maniac. Speaking of fucking maniacs, Miguel fucking Ferrer in this movie.
My boy.
Love Miguel Ferrer. What is your favorite Miguel Ferrer performance?
I don't know. Look, I really love him in Twin Peaks, and especially The Return. Just seeing him come back, and
because that was released after his death in 2017.
That dropped pretty much right after he died, and so you're watching it, being like, I'm sad that he died, but gosh, I'm so glad he's here, and it was a whole thing. But
that was a few people's final performance. It was him, Catherine Coulson, Mark Frostad, who played the Doctor.
The Doctor, yeah.
Yeah, he
did like the FaceTime. He was on the fishing trip, and
literally he was on he zoomed in his part for Twin Peaks. Like it's fucking like incredible that they managed to get him in. Like it, And I got emotional when each of those characters showed up because I knew those actors were no longer with us.
They were all just waiting on Lynch. They're like, come on, I'm straight up trying to die. Like, it's my time. But
I heard that Catherine Coulson filmed all of her stuff first.
Yeah,
because
absolutely,
and you can tell from watching her, she is like on death's door when she's filming that stuff. But she is so fucking good.
Good for her, man.
Right?
Good for her. I would love for like the lead up to my death to be like an amazing fucking piece of art. Like, how rad is that?
And then like a year or two after I die, everyone's watching it and just going like, it's fucking like, I
That's
love,
a legacy.
I love this
That's
person.
a legacy.
That is 100% a legacy. God, I love Catherine Coulson. I love Twin Peaks. Yeah, Albert Rosenstein Rosenfield, sorry, in Twin Peaks is easily my favorite Miguel Ferrer performance.
I think he's the perfect character for him.
Yeah,
because he gets to be an asshole, but he's not a bad person.
Exactly,
he's just an asshole. Like,
yes, no, 100%.
There could be a huge difference.
You are absolutely correct, though. Absolutely, like
and
that is.
And as when he goes full asshole outside of this movie, I think a really good performance of his was in RoboCop as well. I liked him in RoboCop a lot.
Yeah, he is in the RoboCops.
I mean, I love him in everything I've seen him in, but those two performances specifically are the ones I think of when I think of him.
He was one of those great that guy actors, and so I saw him pop up in so much stuff when I was a kid.
He was in a lot of TV and a lot of movies. Like, he was everywhere for about 20 years.
One of the earliest things I think I remember, like deeply remember him in, and this is going to sound so fucking stupid. He's in future episode of this podcast, The Guardian, by the way. But he is in future episode of this podcast, Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. Is Blank Check, the movie Blank Check, where he plays the primary villain of that movie. But then after that, I remember him in, and I don't know if you're going to remember this, Project Alf. Do you remember Project Alf?
I remember that when they were like, "Oh, here's your big series finale a couple years later, but we're not. The family's not going to be here, and it's going to be a completely different thing."
Yeah. It's just it's Alf and a bunch of other shit. He is also the voice of the villain in Mulan.
He does so much voice work, dude. So much. Prolific, I would say, in his voice acting.
Do you remember the Justice League made for TV movie? Did you ever see that?
Animated?
No.
The one with Adam West and
No,
wait.
It didn't have Batman or Superman. Yes, it was on TV it came out the same year that this did, 97. It's got Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. It's got Fire, Ice, the Atom, the Flash, the Martian Manhunter. Miguel Ferrer is the villain. He plays the Weatherman. The Flash villain, the Weatherman.
Well, I'm thinking of, there was a live action TV special though that had Adam West as Batman. They had like Green Lantern and like Flash.
There was, but Miguel Ferrer was not in that one. I just sent you the IMDb link for the one that you can probably find it on YouTube. David Ogden Stiers is the Martian Manhunter, which is kind of fucking rad.
Oh, this was on. Okay. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff coming out around this time. I think the TV pilot for Generation X came out around the same time. Yeah, 96.
Correct.
It seemed like a lot of this kind of stuff was getting dumped on television. Like, they were trying to make a lot of series with this kind of stuff.
Exactly. Project Alf was also 96. Yeah, so these are all like, these TV movies are basically all unused pilots. That they're just like, well, we gotta put it out sometime. So yeah, they would do that. But no, Blank Check and Project Alf. Those are my two like tentpole Miguel Ferrer films. He's also in future episode of this podcast, Mr. Magoo, probably as the villain
with Leslie Nielsen.
Just one of the all-time great villain actors. He's in Steven Soderbergh's Traffic.
Yes, sir, he sure is.
Ever heard of it?
Wait a minute.
He's in Jonathan Demme's The Manchurian Candidate?
With straight up Denzel Washington and shit?
Denzel Washington and Liev Schreiber? Hell yeah.
I love Liev Schreiber. Have I ever told you how much I love Liev Schreiber?
I do, but he let Naomi Watts slip through his fingers, man. Like,
well, that's all right. He's got more important things like acting to do.
Naomi Watts, though, dude.
I get that. Look, I'm on the same page with you on that. I truly, truly am. But at the same time, like, art, dude.
Sure.
Art.
But at the same time,
Mr. Motherfucking Goo.
Mr. Motherfucking Goo. We're going to watch it at some point for this podcast.
I cannot wait. Wait, can we do Firewalk with Me because of the missing pieces, though?
Missing Pieces
That's
is
official.
not
It's canon.
It's not a film.
It's fucking canon.
It's deleted scenes.
It is a film, though. It's put together like a film. Have you seen the missing pieces?
Years ago.
I mean, it's got enough structure.
Firewalk with Me was intended. Firewalk with Me was intended to be the start of a trilogy. He was going to do 3 Twin Peaks films, and Firewalk with Me was so poorly received, he couldn't do anymore. And that was the end of Twin Peaks until The Return.
The Return,
which is one of the greatest achievements in television history.
2017.
I know. It's been
it's
been almost 7 years
since then. Like, I watched it in tandem like twice.
Mm-hmm.
I watched like up to halfway through it, and then my roommate started watching it, so I watched through it as I was still watching it as it aired.
Yeah.
And that was pretty fucking rad, but I haven't watched it since it aired.
I don't think I have either. I need to revisit.
I have the Blu-ray, and that box is so rad. I've showed you how it's got, like,
yeah.
And then you open it up, and Dougie's in the middle.
Dougie Jones, baby. Dougie Jones. We stand Dougie Jones.
We need to rewatch that, Steven.
We do 100%.
We should do a Patreon special rewatch.
The Twin Peaks Patreon special.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we're doing all sorts of plugs for the Patreon.
Got to get through the D&D stuff first, though.
Yeah, we do, and we got to get through this episode before we do any of that.
This episode's been over for several minutes.
So, Tucker, you mentioned there were a handful of things that you did enjoy about this movie. Let me ask you, what are they?
Well, Miguel Ferrer, despite me just hating that character, just like detesting that character.
Kind of a loathsome character, for sure.
I would not have hated him as much if Miguel Ferrer weren't fucking killing it.
Mm-hmm.
The whole, like he does in everything, especially he's very good at being an asshole.
That's the thing, is you hate the character, but you hate the character because Miguel Ferrer is doing such a good job at playing an asshole.
Well, it's an added bonus. It's an added bonus because the character is shit.
Yeah.
But then you get Miguel Ferrer in there, and
as an actor, if you're playing a loathsome character, you kind of almost relish the audience booing you at the end of the show.
Absolutely.
Because
that means you did your job.
Exactly.
And
I feel like Miguel Ferrer is doing that. But first of all, no one in this movie is redeemable at all. Everyone's a piece of shit. At least that we're meant to like be siding with. Everyone's a piece of shit in this movie. And I think that's kind of the point, because again, this whole thing is Stephen King kind of speaking against the proliferation, particularly in the late 80s, but even into the 90s to now, of tabloid journalism. And now we've got shows like fucking TMZ. We've got paparazzos like out on the streets constantly, people constantly being like involved in other people's business, wanting to know what's going on. True crime is a subgenre of like, it may be the biggest genre in podcasting, like Netflix documentaries, true crime shit. I'm guilty as anyone else. I love that shit. Like, but like just the idea of like wanting to insert ourselves into the grisly details of someone else's life. And that's kind of, and it's almost like this movie walks so that fucking Nightcrawler can run. Nightcrawler is the better version of this movie.
Look, I see the connections, but I don't know if I would go as far as to say that it's the better version of this movie, because there's a lot of problems, not only with, like you mentioned before, the editing and the pacing, but the writing is shit too. Like, this movie barely keeps itself together.
It does.
Yeah, it barely keeps itself together. And the only thing it's got going for it is Miguel Ferrer is making fucking gold out of a fucking turd.
Just doing the Lord's work here, really.
Carrying this entire movie on his shoulders, and it's heavy.
For our sins.
And then KMB comes in and knocks it out with the effects. Outside of that, it's garbage. There's nothing appealing about this movie at all. I like the idea of it.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see a well-written and well-executed version of this. That would be fucking rad.
And I mean, since we just learned last week that the dollar babies are dead, it's gonna cost to do it. Although Stephen King has basically said that the Night Flier is probably the same character as the one in his short story Propsy, I think.
What's this now?
You don't know Propsy?
I know Propsy, but I don't know Propsy.
Let me hang on.
I will let you hang on. I'm allowing you to hang on right now.
Thank you. Popsy. It's Popsy. It's
Popsy. There it is.
Stephen King story Popsy. The only reason I know Popsy is because a friend of mine is in a version of Popsy, directed by Jack Kessler. Jack Kessler's Popsy. Excuse me. But the story Popsy is essentially like basically these guys are like driving around and get accosted by a monster. They're shady businessmen. I will say that the friend of mine that was in this movie, you know who else is in this movie? One of the greatest that guy actors of all time.
Is it Rick Dees?
No, specifically because he's in a lot of his brother's films. We know him because we love his brother.
Frank Stallone?
You guessed it. Ted Raimi.
Take it. Oh, all right. Lunatics, A Love Stories, Ted Raimi.
Yes. Theodore Ted Raimi is in Jack Kessler's Popsy. It was a short film released in 2019. Friend of the show, Zach DeZuba, plays the gas station clerk in that movie. Good dude. I did a play with him when he was in high school. When's
he going to be a guest?
I don't know. I'll reach out to him. I'll see if he wants to show up. I know he just filmed a short film with friend of the podcast, Samuel Dumas, as well. So
that's rad.
Maybe we can get him on to
when What's that? Where do I see that?
Whenever Sam finishes editing it. I don't know. Sam's still working on it.
Is it an official Crown Hill production? Or
I don't know.
Is this an offshoot, a spinoff of that?
I don't know, because I think it's Zach's baby, but I know he brought on Sam to direct, and basically it was like a crew of 4: Sam, Zach, the cinematographer, Jim Banta, friend of the show, Jim Banta, and the actress. So like there were 5 people on set at any time because it's just a 2-person short. But yeah,
oh, see that I'm gonna text Sammy, man. We're gonna talk about that.
Do it, man. But yes, past and future guest Samuel Dumas, he will be on again this year. I promise. We've already got him on the books. So,
man, that guy's got great hair. You ever notice how good Sammy's hair is?
Mm-hmm. I do.
It's great. Like if it looks like he spends time on it, and like really it's time well spent. It's time well spent.
And here's the thing: like his brother, our friend JP Leck, past and future guest, he also has good hair. But like Sam's going above and beyond. Like Sam like cultivates that stuff.
He puts effort into it. And let me tell you, I think where this stems from. So I've known Sammy since he was in probably about kindergarten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that tracks.
And I was in middle school around this time. And this boy had the, like, if you look up in the dictionary, 90s bowl haircut.
Right.
That was little Sammy.
I believe it. I 100% believe it.
And so I think maybe like Sammy, come on the show and we'll talk about this. But this is my pure speculation. Schedule, man. This is when's he coming in? Soon?
It'll be early March.
Oh, I'm way into that. We'll talk about this. But see, my pure speculation is that like that haircut traumatized him so much that he vowed to himself that he would have luscious, beautiful hair for the rest of his days.
I mean,
because your boy puts in the work.
He does.
And it looks fantastic. And I haven't smelled it, but I'll bet if I smelled it, it would smell wonderful.
I almost wish he had his hair out in Circle City Supernatural, but he doesn't.
He's kind of.
I'll tell you what.
He's a little wrapped up.
Go on YouTube and look up the short film from our friend JP Leck, The Roman. You'll hear my voice because I'm in that one.
It's because that's the only one that he's in before he dies, right?
He's the lead. No, that's the only one where he's the lead. He shows up in a couple others, but like his hair is not really featured.
I don't know that I was in that one, but I helped film a good bit of. Oh, it's because Julie was in that one.
That's right. Yeah.
So I was helping out quite a bit on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a cameo when she goes into the theater. Like that's my arm that opens the door.
There you go.
That's me. Hi, cameo.
Hi, cameo.
It's me.
I'm
like
only
that
is literally the first thing I ever did with Joseph. That was my, like, he saw a short film that Sam had done with Caleb and I called Susan Lands the Interview. You can find that on YouTube as well. He's like, is it okay if I use these guys? And Sam's like, yeah, I guess. And so he reached out to me. He's like, hey, you want in? And I'm like, acting?
There's a straight up sword fight in that movie.
There is. That Sam and Caleb choreographed. My former co-hosts on the Rule of Thirds podcast choreographed themselves.
Who are you in that one, Steven? I haven't seen it in so long.
My character, Keith Sorrells, the character that I play in most of these things.
Yeah, because you're Sammy's partner.
I'm the voice on the phone. Yeah.
Duh. Yeah.
And literally, I just showed up to the first time I ever met Joseph. Well, the first time I met him was at Sam's wedding, but the second time I met him, I just showed up at his house and I'm like, "Hi." Yeah. Because my ex and his wife are very good. We're very good friends, and so like, and then I think I got them in the divorce, but yeah.
Yes, nice.
But yeah,
I would have fought for him. I would have that would have been some legal shit. I'll be like, the Lex are mine.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, no, Sammy and I, again, like we started our first podcast, Rule of Thirds, because our wives got so annoyed with us talking about movies every time we got together that we had to find another outlet to talk about movies. So Sam literally just messages Caleb and I one day and is like, we're going to start a podcast. And that was what we did.
That's how it happened.
And that's why I'm doing this. I wouldn't be doing this if I hadn't done that one first.
Here we are. And here we are. We hate this movie so much. We spent 15 minutes on origin stories of people that are just podcast adjacent. Honestly.
Look, and so here's something I think is fairly interesting. This movie ends very differently than the short story, from what I understand.
Does it? I haven't read the thing.
I haven't either, but I read about it. So from what I understand, the short story basically ends with Dee's watch. And first of all, the character of Catherine Blair. Go ahead, do
nuts.
It. There it is. Take a shot, everybody.
Sorry, Steve.
I actually have alcohol.
You've been holding out on me. You've been holding out on me. If you were saying it more often, it wouldn't have hit me so hard.
Saying what? D's?
No, I'm fresh off another one. I'm good. Keep going, Steven.
So the short story ends.
D's nuts.
There it is. I knew you were waiting for it. I knew it. I fucking knew it.
It's all about timing, Steve. It's all about timing. It's different every time. It's different every time. You gotta judge.
Absolutely.
What's come before and how much time you need to let that sit and marinate.
Hey Tucker, do me a favor.
Yes.
Ask me why I'm so funny.
Why are you so funny?
Timing. No, sorry, I fucked that up. Ask me again why I'm so funny. Ask me again.
No, that's like no.
Do it again.
Interrupting Cal.
No. Seriously, do it again. Do it again. Ask me again.
What am I supposed to do?
Ask me why I'm so funny.
Why are you so funny?
Timing.
Oh man, but you broke the rules. You broke the podcast rules there, Steven. As brilliant as that was. 2 seconds, man. I gotta trim it if it's more than 2 seconds of dead air.
You don't. That's the joke, dude.
No, dude. If we don't run those stations, people are gonna tune out. They're not gonna be watching.
No, that's not true. People love us.
2 seconds. Okay, look. Consider this. This is your verbal warning, Steven. Okay? This is your first verbal warning. You get 3 verbal warnings, and you get a written warning. You get 3 written warnings. We have a conversation with HR, and then
you get a citation. You get 4 citations, and yeah. Yes.
So this is your first verbal warning, Steve.
Anyway.
No more pauses after over 2 seconds.
The short story ends with Dee's watching fly away, watching the Night Flier fly away, opening his camera and pulling the film out of the camera himself. knowing that he will never be able to, because you don't believe what you publish, don't publish what you believe. That's his whole motto.
I was really surprised that like he hadn't tricked him by like all the pictures he had taken before were like on the straight up on some other film and he had switched it out. Woo! Like I was kind of surprised.
That'd be too
Like kind of like
convenient,
rookie
though. But yeah,
mistake. Rookie mistake though.
yeah,
Like yeah, I feel like he knew he was like walking into the lion's den there at a certain point.
he did.
So like why not prepare for that? Like he is otherwise kind of a clever character despite his assholishness.
No, he absolutely is. Like
He's not an idiot.
he fucking double crosses everybody, including his
He
own team.
he like quadruple crosses himself. It's like there's so many
But
double
that's
crosses.
it. Right. That's it. But he ends up double crossing himself. So you were a triple agent? No, I just lied about being a double. Yeah.
That's cool.
But he, in the film though, it's the Night Flier himself that pulls the camera out of the film, or the film out of the camera. I've been playing the drinking game too, those of you listening at home. So every time I say D's and Tucker says I've also been taking a drink.
Oh man.
And I'm drinking Bob Dylan's whiskey. That's right.
Testicles are hilarious.
They are, they just. But it's so he ends up watching the Night Flier fly away, pulls the film out of his own camera. In the film, the Night Flier is the one that pulls the film out of the camera. And then because of some vampire trickery, when he shows him his true face, which Dees demands. You're going to let me have that one? Mm-hmm. Okay. Such restraint you're showing right now.
It's taking so much.
I know it is. I know it. I can see it on your face. There's like agony on your face right now. Just do it. Just fucking do it, dude.
No, dude, no. I'm strong. I'm strong.
Since when?
I'm a strong, independent woman, and Steven, I don't need no man.
Well, that I knew. But he ends up seeing a vision of all of the people that he has exploited in his time at the tabloid. All of the people that he has.
Is that who all those people were? I recognized the
yes.
lady in the bathtub because they talked about her earlier, but I didn't really make that connection with anybody else.
There was the lady with the dead baby, and she says, "Do you know what I had to do to get him?" Which is the same thing that he says.
Because they mentioned the thing before about the thing. Okay, yeah. Now that you mentioned
where's the picture of my dead baby? Yeah. Where's my picture? Where's my dead baby? You know what I had to do to get that picture? You know what I had to do with that morgue attendant?
No murders under 2, man. Come on. Calm down.
But
that's what he says in the movie, the guy.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, those are all the people that he's exploited for his to get his scoop.
Oh, I get that now. That kind of makes that a little bit cooler. Like it's still just like 45 seconds of radness, but it's just a little bit radder now.
The film all goes to black and white, and he just starts hacking those people to bits with axes.
Which I really appreciated. I don't know why they did it. Like, based on the rest of the movie, it couldn't have been an artistic choice.
I mean, it was absolutely
this director
an artistic
has
choice,
no artistic bone in his body.
Maybe it was the cinematographer.
Maybe, I don't know, dude.
The cinematographer,
the editor, maybe even like that might be an editor choice too.
Elizabeth Schwartz is the editor. The cinematographer is David Connell. What else has he done? Let me check here.
I'll bet you're going to tell us.
I'm looking for it, man. The Neverending Story 2, the next chapter.
Oh, fantastic.
Dolly Parton's Heartstrings.
Oh, wow.
The Rush Hour, an episode of the Rush Hour TV show.
Fantastic.
A TV movie called The Quickening. Librarian 3, The Curse of the Judas Chalice.
Oh, wow. That's wow.
Left Behind 3, World at War.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're wondering why this thing looked like a TV movie.
It did, though. It really was like you can't get more like typical 90s TV movie. And that being said, I thought the soundtrack, the score was like I was like, did they just take the It score? It's like every Stephen King TV movie adaptation from the late 80s and 90s. It's that same fucking score.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I was like, I'm convinced that some of that is from It. Like, someone will have to prove me wrong on that, because like there were times where I was like, this has got to be at least the same guy, and maybe he wrote it on the same day. I don't know.
He did a lot of made-for-TV movies. He also in 1997, he was also the cinematographer on a little movie called Zeus and Roxanne about the friendship between a dog and a dolphin.
Great.
And he was also the cinematographer on the Pierce Brosnan Robinson Crusoe film.
Oh, cool.
Did you know that existed? Because it absolutely did.
I worked at the video store when it came out. That's why I know. The cover made it look like a B movie. It was a really bad DVD cover.
You know what else made it look like a B movie?
The cinematography?
The cinematography, yeah.
Hey, did you ever see The Matador, though?
No.
With Greg Kinnear and Pierce Brosnan?
I didn't, no.
Pierce Brosnan plays a hitman, and like he becomes friends with Greg Kinnear when Greg Kinnear's on some business trip, and then like shit goes down and Pierce Brosnan has to like crash at his house, and he has like a wife and a kid and shit, and it's a pretty rad little like semi-indie movie from the early 2000s, and you should check it out.
Have you ever seen The November Man?
Have I?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Look, past Steven, episode of this podcast, The November Man.
Oh, then no, because I remember not knowing about that one.
Yeah, do you know why they call him the November Man?
Because he was born in November?
Because there was nothing left, Tucker. And if you want to hear Brett and I go on an extended riff about how that makes no fucking sense, go back and listen to episode 12 on the November Man.
So I'm not supposed to get it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because we didn't fucking understand either. It's a serviceable action film, but like it's definitely like Pierce Brosnan post Bond trying to recapture some of that magic again and failing miserably.
Yo, but check out The Matador though.
All right.
It's
straight up all right.
Really good. It's kind of, there's some dark shit in it, but at its core it's kind of wholesome. It's really weird. That's why I recommend it. Not because I think that you will absolutely love it, but because I think that you will find it interesting, because there's not really anything else like it.
That's kind of why I recommend The November Man as well. Like it's a weird little, weird relic.
Should check that out.
You should. You absolutely should.
Probably should. I do love Pierce Brosnan when he's hitting, man. When he's hitting.
And I mean,
he like doing him and Timothy Dalton. Like
he's doing Pierce Brosnan things. I mean, Dalton is my favorite Bond. I've said that on this podcast many times before. I will say it many more times.
I only like him because of The Rocketeer. Like he's done other great things, but like The Rocketeer is why I love Timothy Dalton.
See our past episode on The Rocketeer.
I think that was episode films ever made by Evolved Man.
Honestly. I think we did The November Man and The Rocketeer like back to back. I think those are back to back episodes of this podcast.
Probably.
But yeah, go check out our early catalog. Brett and I put a lot of work into those early episodes, and they're pretty fun.
Yeah, they're really good. That's why I'm here.
That's why you're here. Like
That's why I exist in this context.
You started as a fan and came on last year, about a year ago, actually, at our behest. We had reached out to you, I think, in October, and we're like, would you be interested in joining us as a third host? And you were like, I mean, straight up, maybe.
Well, I probably didn't say that. I'd been editing for you guys for almost a year too.
That's true. You'd been editing for us for a while because it got to be a little more than Brett could handle on his own. And then there was that little bit of time in October of 2022 when I was doing the editing, for a month. I did the editing. And that's why those episodes kind of suck editing wise, but yeah.
Yeah, well, look, I've heard a lot. I've heard podcast. There are podcasts that I subscribe to that have legitimate sponsors that I'm infuriated with, just because like they don't take the time to normalize their audio and fix their levels and like pan it out a little bit so that it doesn't all sound jumbled in the middle. It's like, who is your editor? Like they're good at like cutting shit out and making shit tight, like the podcasts are tight. You can tell that they cut those together and make them tight, and they sound great in that way, like pacing wise. But it's not hard to normalize some volume. Just fuck with your knobs a bit, figure out where the sweet spot is for both channels or all 3 or 4 channels, and just get it to where it works. It's not hard. It takes me like when we record a main feed episode and I know when we're done recording that there's nothing I need to edit out, I will just put the theme song on. I will spend about 3 minutes adjusting the levels, and then I skip to the end and put the end theme on, and that's it.
Right. Yeah.
It's that easy to balance your shit out. And there are podcasts, like I say, that have big sponsors that do not take this care. And I don't understand it. And it kind of annoys me as a listener because I know how fucking easy it is. And I'm sitting here like turning it up to hear the quiet parts, and then they get loud and I have to turn it down because I'm not in a private area or something. Like,
it's like a fucking Fast and Furious movie, dude.
Yes, we got to turn the surround off. That's how you get the good mix on that.
Yeah,
get it on the 2-channel stereo, and
that
then
is it.
Your dialogue will be clear.
I just remember the first time I was watching the Fast and Furious movies. I was watching them and my ex was sleeping, and so I was constantly turning it up to hear the dialogue, and then as soon as there was a race, I was turning it way down because the engines were so fucking loud, and I was like, God, whoever edited this sound mix is awful.
Yes.
But I mean, I've been complaining about sound mixing for fucking years, but no one listens to me.
Some of it is bad, but 95% of the time, if you just fuck with the settings on your shit, you can figure it out. And usually, half the time, it's the fact that you're watching physical media and it defaults to the 5.1 or the 7.1 mix.
Right.
So whenever I put any disc in, I just go right in there and I'm like, let me get either stereo or mono. I'm not trying to do this 5.1 when I don't have 5.1 because it kills the dialogue.
That'll fuck your shit up. Absolutely.
Show enough.
Tucker, I know you really enjoyed those kind of final moments of this movie.
I wouldn't say I really enjoyed them.
Well, you enjoyed them more than you enjoyed the rest of the movie.
It at least captured my interest for a brief moment.
Sure.
I can say the rest of this film did not.
Right.
Because even when I was excited about something, outside of any kind of effects reveal, it just was undercut and shitty anyway. So
right.
By the end of this movie, I had as few expectations as I could possibly have. And so just the littlest, smallest, barely interesting thing caught my attention.
You're like, ooh, it's in black and white. What's that about?
Oh, these effects are nice, but
the creature.
How did we get here?
I will straight up say, this is what happens apparently when I drink the rest of my whiskey is I start to sound like Tucker. I will straight up say the creature effects on this movie are absolutely incredible.
KMB, baby. Yeah. You can't go wrong with KMB.
The look of the Night Flier himself is next level. It's so good. He looks incredible.
Name one KMB effect that sucks.
I guess I'm not familiar enough with what they've done.
You've seen a lot of their shit, even if you don't realize that you've seen a lot of their shit.
I'm sure I have. Look,
because even outside of horror, in sci-fi and even effects for thrillers and dramas, they'll pop in there and do shit. So whether it's a fantastic horror thing or a simple cut of the hand in a drama, you've seen their shit.
Okay. I'm looking through makeup design here. We've got
that's Howard Berger, Greg Nicotero, and
Greg Nicotero. That's a name I absolutely recognize.
What's the other guy? He's a sweet dude. Who's the other guy? Greg? Is it Greg something? Howard Berger.
Robert Kurtzman.
There you go. He has the most generic name, and that's the one I can never remember.
But no, I do know these guys now that you call them out, and I'm kind of looking through some of their credits right now, and
they've done everything. They did everything.
They've done a lot of great shit, and I kind of love a lot of their stuff. Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
They're
Like,
fantastic. They're fantastic.
and I think that and the performance of Miguel Ferrer are really what make this movie stand out. And you can tell that's where the budget went. And they kind of had to like make do with everything else, which is why
and I'm
this
not
movie...
gonna say go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's why this movie has like one recognizable name in the cast and then a bunch of people who are like day players at best, kind of throughout, like filling out the remaining. I guess the guy who did who plays the head of the tabloid, he's Pee-wee in Porky's. Like 3 of his 4 known for are Porky's movies, yeah. And then the 4th one is fucking Baby Geniuses.
Nice. Everybody
like
loves Baby Geniuses.
Do they?
No.
Do they though?
No, dude.
I've never seen it. I can't vouch.
No.
But like you like they didn't really work very hard to get names for this thing. So it's like, but you can tell like the creature effects are incredible. Like the prosthetics on the Night Flier, like when you finally get to see him full in the face, it's unbelievable.
Also, not just the creature effects, but the gore effects. I think the decapitations look really good. The severed heads look amazing.
The holes in the necks look really fucking great.
Yes. I don't know what that's supposed to fucking be, but it looks great. Yes.
Right.
Like, I don't know what that is. Like, it's kind of stupid, but at the same time, it looks amazing. But let me say...
I remember when Alan Moore describes the Dracula like neck bite, it didn't look like the 2 puncture wounds. It was like scarring, like heavy scarring, like the characters that had been bitten had been gored almost.
I think it's I think the 2 like just really hollow black holes, like empty looking. That's scarier to me.
It is like it's
like
almost
a gash or something.
It's almost like he took his hand and the claws on that hand and like made kind of a pointed fist and just plunged them in and then just put his whole mouth over it, or maybe just ripped out the side of their neck with his teeth and just sucked all the blood out that way.
Who knows?
Like it's brutal. It's far more brutal than just the romantic Bela Lugosi twin puncture.
It does look good. Neck. Like I say, it's not my preferred, but it looks great.
It looks fantastic. Yeah, it looks fantastic.
But let me say, that's not... Look, all like Miguel Ferrer, we love him. We love him so much, and he does his best in this movie.
He's doing the Lord's work. He really
the effects are phenomenal, but I still can't say that you should watch this movie because of that.
Right. If you want to, it's on YouTube. If you want to, it's on YouTube. Watch it. Apparently the second link is apparently higher quality than the first.
You want the one that's widescreen, not the 4:3 one, because the 4:3 one tops out at 360p.
Yeah,
and the widescreen one is at least standard edition, and I'd say about 75% of the time it does not look like noticeably bad.
75% of the time it works every time.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah,
it smells like Bigfoot's dick. You did that. That was you. You did that.
I did. I fucking... You did. That's my favorite Will Ferrell movie. Can I just say that? That is my favorite Will Ferrell movie.
I'm going to allow it. And I appreciate that.
Most of that is because of Paul Rudd. I do love what Paul Rudd is doing in that movie. As I get older, I realize that Paul Rudd is way funnier than Steve Carell in that movie.
Paul Rudd is so subtle because all of the characters that he plays... you could believe them like doing those things and saying those things. He's such a believable, like that guy.
Exactly.
And relatable too. Like he's kind of perfect.
We should.
I don't think there's a role you can throw at Paul Rudd. Let's do it. What do we got?
I have no idea. Like legit, I have no idea.
I don't know.
Did Ant-Man ever get a sequel?
Dude, he got 2 sequels, dude.
Oh, fuck.
Got and the Wasp and my favorite Star Wars movie, Quantumania.
Quantumania was so bad.
Fuck you, dude. I like that movie. I had so much fun with that movie.
I know. He's in Chippendale Rescue Rangers. We could probably cover that.
Hey, that's the Lonely Island one, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
With Ugly Sonic? Did you see that?
No, I
That
did.
was
Well,
great, dude. You should see it. It's pretty
I mean, I
fantastic.
did see the movie. I don't
It's
remember
actually
Ugly
really good.
Sonic in
John
it
Mulaney
though.
and Andy Samberg as Chip and Dale, respectively. It's directed by is it Akiva Schaffer or Jorma Tacome that directs that one? I think it's Jorma that usually directs. So actually, it was Akiva Schaffer.
Yeah, I was gonna say he is the director of the group, so it would make more sense. It would make more sense for him to have directed than Yorma for sure.
I get them mixed up because they both have very unique names,
and neither of them are Andy Samberg.
That's also true, but still a big fan. Hey Steven, fuck this movie. Let's bring this home. Let's bring it on home, dude. Was there
Is it?
box office for this? I know it premiered on HBO, but I heard it had a small theatrical run, so it's got to be some money.
It did.
Right?
There was in fact a little bit of money for this movie, and that little bit is the reason why it didn't get that sequel that we talked about earlier. As we mentioned
How did it do?
before,
What were the ratings on HBO though? Do you have information on that?
That I don't know. I don't even know where I would find TV ratings, to be honest with you. If you know where I can
Nielsen?
find TV ratings, like hit me up.
Neilson.
Look, man, the
No, why
Night
are we extending this
Flier
episode?
HBO
No. Ratings.
release ratings. Okay.
Anything? What does it say?
Hang on.
2.8 million viewers.
Hang on. Fucking TV Guide has the reviews. The unimaginative vampire picture played on HBO.
Right.
No
rating. That's fine if there's no ratings. I was just curious because I mean this was released in theaters, which is why we're covering it, but it is a TV movie.
Correct. And I mean we've done that before, but it's not something we tend to try to make a habit of, to be honest with you. But yeah, no, I don't know anything about the TV release, but it released on HBO in November of 1997, excuse me. Yeah, it did release on HBO in November 1997. However, the theatrical release was February 6th, 1998, and the number one.
Was this like a limited run, or wasn't wide? It wasn't a wide release.
No,
sure.
It was a fairly limited release.
Markets.
It did not crack $100,000 in the domestic box office. It got $91.5 thousand in the theatrical box office, so did not really do much. It was distributed by New Line, and the number one movie in America on February 6th, 1998 was the biggest movie of the previous year, still riding fucking high, having grossed over $300 million in 50 days. That's the number of days in release, not weeks in release. I'm on the daily chart. That's why. Fuck. Hang on a second. Let me pull up the right fucking chart.
Pull your head out of your ass, Steven.
Someone needs to. God. Look, man.
You got this. I believe in you.
I'm glad someone does, because Lord knows I don't. 8 weeks in release, it has earned $337.4 million. Do you know what the biggest movie of 1997 was, Tucker?
Oh,
it's one of those instances of the highest grossing movie also winning the Oscar.
Can I get one clue? Give me one clue.
It features one of the biggest actors of the late 90s, early 2000s.
It's a Will Smith movie, isn't it?
It's not a Will Smith movie. He was a heartthrob. Every girl our age fucking loved this guy.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
No, the other one that every girl our age fucking loved. The one that was in movies, not TV. He's still
Phoenix?
He's still
Jonathan
making
Brandis?
movies. He's still making movies to this day. He's still a major box office
Corey
draw.
Feldman?
In fact, he was in a movie.
No, that's not Corey Feldman.
He is a favorite of one of our favorite directors. He's a favorite actor of one of our favorite directors.
Oh, is it Leo?
It's Leo. What was Leo's big 1997 movie, Tucker?
Was it Titanic?
Straight up Titanic.
James Cameron's Titanic.
For 8 weeks in a row, it has earned over $300 million in the domestic box office. It earns $23 million this weekend alone.
I saw that at the movie theater, and boy, my mom was embarrassed when there was some boobies.
The boobies. I saw that one for the first
She ain't expect that
2 to 3 years ago, and was kind of like, why did I not see this before? This movie straight up rules.
It's pretty all right. Yeah, it's not really my cup of tea, but like it's cool. It's rad. For sure.
It's a great, like, here's the thing about Jim Cameron. Dude knows how to make movies.
He's pretty good at making movies. Yeah,
he is straight up good at making movies. In the second spot, an early Antoine Fuqua film starring our buddy Chow Yun-fat and the great Mira Sorvino, The Replacement Killers, at number 2, opening this weekend to $8 million.
Yeah, dude. Not bad.
In third place after 10 weeks in release, it remains steady at third place. It will win the Best Screenplay Oscar for its very young, up-and-coming screenwriters who would go on to become famous actors, and one of them a director in his own right, Good Will Hunting. How do you like them apples, Tucker? How do you like
applesauce, bitch?
Applesauce, bitch. In fourth place, the other new release this weekend, it is Blues Brothers 2000, a movie that
PB2K, bitch.
You and I and Brett covered on the Patreon, patreon.com/disenfranchised. That's like the 5th time we've mentioned that.
Strongly like that movie. I don't want to say I love it because I come right up to loving it, but I have strong feelings for that film. Is it good? No, but I sure do like it a whole lot.
You sure do.
I do. John Goodman is he's a national treasure. Anyway, what was the next one there?
In fifth this week is Great Expectations. Those expectations, boy, they sure are great.
Wasn't Gwyneth Paltrow in that or some shit?
That is, let me double check here. That is the one, yes. That's Gwyneth Paltrow, Ethan Hawke, Robert De Niro, Anne Bancroft, Chris Cooper, Hank Azaria, Gabriel Mann, Alfonso Cuarón directed that motherfucker.
I gotta say something. Like you might see me as not the fanciest dude, but I saw that movie. No big deal.
Right on.
Whatever. I liked it.
Right
whatever.
on.
I'm straight up a man of culture. Like
sure. Sometimes, yeah.
I like basket cakes, but I'll also get down to Billy Shakes, you know?
Sure.
No big deal.
Rounded
the modernized Hamlet with Ethan Hawke and Bill Murray.
Oh, that's a good one, dude.
I love that movie. I love the soundtrack too.
Yeah, dude.
Shit. More Chibas on that bitch. That's it's a good soundtrack. It's a good movie too. Go see that underrated, like never talked about, never thought about by any human being. Early 2000s modernization of Hamlet with Ethan Hawke. Just go see it.
You heard it here, probably third, folks. Rounding out our top 10
bitch too.
And number 6, As Good as It Gets. Number 7, Spice World.
It gets better. Yeah.
Number 8, Wag the Dog.
Oh, with Dustin Hoffman. I like that movie. You seen that movie, Steven?
I have not. That's a Barry Levinson joint.
That's another kind of people. It was big for a second, and then everybody fucking forgot about it.
For exactly a second. Yep. Dustin Hoffman and
it's really good.
Yeah. I've heard it's good. I've not seen it. I need to. Number 9, Desperate Measures. And number 10, future episode of this podcast, Deep Rising.
Oh, I like that movie so much. R.I.P. Treat Williams, who did not die of old age. That's the saddest part. You want somebody to die like of old age peacefully in their sleep. Motherfucker got in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, he did.
Like, fuck that. That sucks.
Right? And some others, some deeper cuts. 11, Fallen. Number 13, Tomorrow Never Dies. Speaking of Pierce Brosnan.
Fallen with like Denzel Washington. And John Goodman.
Future episode of this podcast.
And time is on my side.
That's
yes,
the one.
It is. I love that movie. That's like one of those quintessential, like Seven. It's like it's one of the thrillers you have to see from the 90s,
right?
Because the thriller was a whole different genre in the 90s, and it was fantastic
for sure.
Ooh, there's some good shit in there. Throw some Ashley Judd and Morgan Freeman in any of those motherfuckers. You're having a good time.
There it is. Number 14, Mouse Hunt. And then all the way down.
Oh, your boy Nathan Lane's in that movie.
He is. I fucking love that movie. And number the first.
How do I know this shit? I don't know.
The first Gore Verbinski movie. That's how do I know this shit?
Das Boot.
And number 22, past episode of this podcast, I know one you love, L.A. Confidential.
I do love that movie.
You do. You really
I was thinking
do.
about it tonight, actually.
Oh, of course you were.
But then, like, I started thinking about Undercover Brother, and now I can't stop thinking about Undercover Brother because I love that movie.
Sure. The tomatometer score on this one is a 33% certified rotten. No, thank you.
That's a little more than fair, if I'm being honest.
The meta score is a 36 based on generally unfavorable reviews from 7 critics.
You're being too nice.
I mean, kind of. And the Letterboxd score, I got to pull it up here because my computer did a shitty thing. The Letterboxd score is a 3.1.
Too
Tucker.
kind.
Yes. Tucker, out of 5 stars, how are you rating Stephen King's The Night Flier?
Look, this is 1.5 stars for me. Okay, it's 0.75 stars for Miguel Ferrer and 0.75 stars for KMBFX. Outside of that, this movie can fuck right off and kiss my whole asshole.
With the exception of it kissing my whole asshole, because I don't want to derive pleasure from this movie.
You're a bad man, Steven.
I am terrible. It's a 1.5 for me as well. Like,
dude, straight up motherfuck this movie.
I don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it. I'm not anticipating that I'm going to like next week's film either, but I have a feeling I'm going to like it more than I like this.
It's going to be an interesting conversation, at least.
It will at that, because we'll have something.
2013 remake of and then there's it's right. That's what we're doing next week, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to be vague about it, but yeah.
Yeah, you say 2013 remake and everyone pretty much clicks it into place.
Look, Steven, I don't know if you're necessarily going to like it, but you will have a lot to say about it. That I can tell you.
That I'm pretty sure. And you and Brett and I,
conversation.
Regardless of whether or not Brett is able to join us next week, we're gonna have to get the band together to talk Rage Carry 2 on the Patreon. So
yes, I refuse to do it without all of us.
I know you do. I know you do, because you're that guy.
It's because, look, it's a movie I love, and I want to share it with you guys. My friends. And I want you both here for it.
Let me ask you a question, Tucker, and I want you to be 100% honest with me when I ask you this question.
Yeah. Okay.
How many times have you seen the Rage Carry 2 this month?
This month, you'll be surprised to find out I've only watched it 5 times this month.
Only 5. Only 5, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
It's only a couple times a week. That's not a lot. There's a lot of time between.
Friends. That's. I mean, you've also been watching the entirety of True Detective and some other things that people will need to go check out our most recent episode of What Are We Watching to find out about.
Man. So much context. You got to hit that Patreon.
You really do, guys. There's so much.
7-day trial. We still got the 7-day trial going on, Steven?
As far as I know.
You can still do?
As far as I know.
7-day trial, dude. You'll have enough stuff for 7 days to where I think at the end of those 7 days, you'll be like, yeah, this is worth, $5 a month?
You'll want to re-up. You will. There's some good. Look, I would still be a patron if I could afford it, but for right now, I can't. I hope to afford it soon.
Yeah.
And once I can afford it again, I will be. Look, no one's more sad than I am to lose it.
And
but I'm still.
One of these days, I think to make up for it, I think we'll have to fast track the Zelda Rubinstein soundboard.
We will. I think they took away stretch goals on Patreon, so we don't have it anymore. But it's really
a spiritual stretch goal.
Should put that on.
We committed to it, is what I'm saying. We committed to it.
We absolutely did. You're right. We're right.
We advertised. People came. We met the goal.
They look. We still have 10 patrons that are paying us right now. So we
at least 10.
We do, and we should put it out.
Yeah, it's got to go out at some point. Look, so no rush. I'm just saying it's got to happen.
That's the Night Flier, everybody. That is the thing. You can watch.
I wish it were the thing.
It's not streaming anywhere. You can find it on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube if you really want to watch it and see those really cool creature effects and watch the late great Miguel Ferrer. I don't know why you'd want to. I don't know that it's worth it, but you can watch it on YouTube.
It's not worth it. Look, my roommate is probably the only person in the world whose favorite kind of movie is a late 80s or 90s Stephen King adapted TV film.
Sure.
It's very, very specific genre.
Very
She's a
specific.
huge
Hyper
fan of
specific.
this genre.
She loved the Tommy knockers?
Love the Langoliers. Yeah, dude. She eats that shit up. Rose
Right on.
Red.
Okay.
Yes. Now some of those do slap. But
Sure.
like she loves all that shit. But like specifically the TV adaptations. And like I'm not even gonna recommend this motherfucker to her. Because I feel like I would offend her. Like I might make her mad if I made her watch this movie.
Dude, can I ask you a question? You can cut this out if you want.
You may. You
When are
may.
we gonna have your roommate on the podcast?
Well, here's the thing.
I knew it was going to be one of these. I knew it was going to be one of these.
As some people know, my roommate is my ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
And like we cool. We real cool. Like we friends and shit. Like we got each other's back. Like
You root
it's
together. You kind of have to be, yeah.
kind of a it's more of a sibling kind of relationship now.
Right.
Like we don't always hang out. Like we're good roommates because we give each other a lot of space, you know.
Sure,
like we do
yeah.
interact and we hang out sometimes and stuff, but I wouldn't say that we're real great friends, but like I said, it's more of a sibling relationship. And that being said, I can be a bit much for her these days.
You? A bit
So
much?
look,
No.
it's been discussed sometimes because she's been like, "Oh man, I love that movie. I should come on and talk about it." And I'm like, "Should you though?" Because
Don't
like,
discourage her, man.
after about 5 minutes, she'd be out. Like,
Really?
just if for me being completely myself and unhinged, like
You do get pretty unhinged on these motherfucking
she
things.
would,
Yeah.
she'd be done after about 5 minutes. That's why I tell her, I'm like, "Yo, do you want to listen to me talk like at my tookiest for 2 hours?" Yeah, I didn't fucking think so.
You
Like,
really are at your tookiest for most of these. Yeah, that's
now
true.
she would be a good fill-in for me.
Okay.
Like if I for some reason could not be here, that would be fun. But I don't know. I mean, it maybe at some point,
I don't
but
know. Just
I don't know,
just let her
dude.
know
Like
the option is if she's up for it, we would love to have her.
I don't know I think if it's something that we agreed on enough that she's as enthusiastic about as I am,
Okay.
because she does get as nerdy and obsessive about some things, just not it's not as broad of a spectrum as it is with me. She's
Which
hyper
makes sense.
specific about things.
And that's totally cool. That makes
And if it were
complete sense to
something
me.
that we completely saw eye to eye on, we're completely freaking out about, then she would be in a very rare instance nerding out just like me. So
Right.
we would have a good time. But outside of that, nah, dude. She cannot sanction my buffoonery
And look,
in normal circumstances. I don't fucking blame her. I'm a lot, dude. I'm a lot.
there are times I can't sanction your buffoonery, so I
I am
get
a
it.
fucking lot.
You are. But look, so am I.
I'm not for everybody.
Nor am I. The fact that I have found someone who can put up with my bullshit at all, a gift from the Lord Almighty, quite frankly. So I get it. Trust me, I get it. Like there are times when I worry that I am too much for anyone. And again, another reason why I'm amazed that people listen to this shit at all. But again, let her know if there's anything she wants to cover.
Open. Yeah.
The door's always open. We would love to have her on.
Okay.
So just throwing that out there.
Okay.
But yeah, this is the Disenfranchised Podcast. Look, if you don't know, now you know. This is what we are. This is what we do. We got another Stephen King. We're gonna finish out the Kingening next week. I don't know if Brett's gonna be here or not. Brett might have had an unfortunate run in at prom next week. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Who knows?
But
maybe his friends left him at the pig farm.
Maybe they did. Here's what I do know, though. Here's what I know. You can reach out to us at disenfranchpod@gmail.com. You can let us know what you think of us. You can request a future episode. We've actually got 2 listener requests coming up within the first quarter of this year. And one of them is actually going to include the person that suggested it is going to guest on this podcast.
Hey, that's how I am where I am today.
That's true. If we
not saying that's good, like, come on, don't get your hopes up because it's not going to happen to you. I'm just saying that's how,
Yeah. Look, if I've met you in
gunning for
person,
my spot.
if I've met you in person and I think you're a cool person, then yeah, come on. But if not, then I mean, I may have met you online and think you're a cool person, but I'm not gonna have you on the podcast. I love you though.
I'd be willing to have a rando from the internet on.
Potentially. We'll consider it. We'll talk about it.
Depends.
Not this year though. Not this year. In the immortal words from the great film They Live. Not this year. But yeah, we got 2 of those coming up. So look, we try to, if you request a film, we really do try to put it on the schedule.
It gets in the rotation. We don't know how long it's going to take, but it's going to happen.
Like we can
guarantee you.
The
as long
schedule
as it fits the format.
The schedule is a living organism. Like it's constantly changing to meet our needs. Like we had one of them that we're going to get to in March. We had one of those on the schedule from December last year, and we had to push it because of some unforeseen circumstances.
There's shit that you like, for example, Galaxy Quest, that you guys, even before I was on here, you guys have been trying to do from the beginning. It's been scheduled so many times. I think that's probably the most canceled episode of the entire series.
Kind of, yeah.
Every couple months, Galaxy Quest pops up, and then it just kind of disappears.
And we just kind of push it. Yeah, it's not even on the schedule anymore. It's not.
We gave up.
We kind of gave up. I need to reach out to the person I want to have on as a guest because I think he would be
I fucking love that movie.
Guest. One of the most hardcore Trekkies I know. He's been a Trek fan longer than I've been alive. Man is a fucking legend. I want to have him on so bad.
That's a movie. I challenge anyone to not like that movie.
It's so good. It's so
good.
good.
Even if you're not a sci-fi fan, even if you don't know a lot, about the Star Trek references and stuff like that, it's still a fantastic movie.
It's so good.
Your girl from fucking Josie and the Pussycats is in that movie. What's her fucking name?
Missy Pyle.
Yes, I was gonna say Sissy. I'm thinking Urban Cowboy over here. Like
foolish.
Yeah,
You know what else you can do? You can hit us up on, wherever you find your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you find us on there, give us a 5-star rating and review. That is so helpful for us. Honestly, it's probably the second best way that you can support us as podcasters, outside of giving us money. Speaking of which, if you do want to give us money, we've mentioned it several times in this episode, patreon.com/disenfranchpod. You can find our weekly What Are We Watching podcast. You can find, you get early access to know what we're covering on the main feed. So at the beginning of every month, we tell you what we're planning on covering. Now that may change. It does fairly frequently, but we'll let you know what we're planning on at any rate. And we also occasionally throw you a bonus episode. Like this month, we're planning an unenfranchised on the Rage Carry 2, which we mentioned earlier. Hit that Patreon. $5 a month, get you access to hours, days of content even behind that paywall. So hit us up, disenfranchpod, or patreon.com/disenfranchpod. You can also find us on social media. We're at disenfranchpod on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. We are
Tell them about the YouTube, Steven. Tell them about the YouTube.
We have a YouTube. Look, Tucker works so hard every week to convert our episodes onto a video format. You get to
rendering tapes time.
Yep.
It takes so much fucking time.
You get to look at the logo that I personally, Stephen Foxworthy, the guy you're listening to right now talk, I designed that motherfucker. You get to watch it.
And despite having no graphical design training, this man can make a pretty good logo. Fucking good.
I have made every logo that you see for this podcast, both on Patreon and on the main feed, is a thing that I've made.
And I don't hate any of them.
No, and Tucker is picky as shit.
I am, especially when it comes to graphical design, because I'm a big like a band poster, like show poster nerd.
On the upcoming What Are We Watching, I make him critique my my logo for his show Straight Up, his quarterly show Straight Up.
We did that on mic. I forgot.
We did that on mic, yeah. And you get to hear him react in real time to the thing that I sent him. And
this is real life, you guys.
Spoiler alert: he liked it.
I did like it.
You will probably see that on an upcoming episode of Straight Up.
Not what I had in mind, but it won me over.
Yeah. So, there you go. But yeah, patreon.com/disenfranchpod. Absolutely fucking hit us up. Make sure you check that YouTube out. and see that logo.
Subscribe to the YouTube. Like, even if you don't watch the videos, which that is kind of the preferred way.
First of all, watch the video, but
like
also
YouTube's the only platform that we're on where the streams of the content actually matters towards us, like getting into an algorithm or something. Otherwise, it's like ratings
Apple
or
Podcasts
comments,
and Spotify as well. But yes.
Yeah, it would just look, we do such weird business on YouTube because it seems like every other episode like does really well, and then the one in between gets 0 to 2 views.
Right.
And then all of a sudden one will get 200 views, then we'll be back to like no views.
Mm-hmm.
So like some consistency. I just want to get this shit out to people who would enjoy it. Like that's the whole point of it, is to like entertain people and make them forget that the world is on fire for a couple hours, you know?
But yeah,
Let's have a good time.
we are absolutely 100% on YouTube. Check us out there. Check us out on all our social media platforms. And just, I said X. We're not really on X anymore. I kind of got us off X. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, fuck Elon, fuck X. No thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm Stephen Foxworthy. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but I am. And you can find me on Blue Sky. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Letterboxd. Letterboxd is the other one we're on at Disenfranched Pod. But you can find me on Letterboxd at Chewy Walrus. You can find our absent friend Brett Wright at sus_warlock on Letterboxd and Instagram, at suswarlock on Blue Sky. Tucker, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me on YouTube and Instagrams at Ice909. That's ICENINE, the number 0, and the number 9. Also on Instagram, you can check out Tuck Mugs. Like there was a bit of a hiatus there for a while, just because I let the staff go home for the holidays and stuff, and so we had some things to sort of catch up on. We're still kind of catching up on the holidays. I still do have one post in the chamber ready to go in the next couple days that is from the holiday break.
I was gonna say, that's another guest mug, right?
It is another guest mug, and then after that, I have plans on posting one of my mugs. Strangely enough, it's been a while, I know.
It has,
but
yeah.
I'm gonna have myself a mug as well. So that's pretty exciting. I really like the way it's coming together. That's where you can find me on social media. You were talking about Letterboxd, and it made me remember my rushes I got in my email earlier today, Steven. And can I read you my favorite?
Please.
My favorite Circle City Supernatural review ever.
I think I know exactly which one you're talking about, because it's one that Joseph and I actually looked at yesterday when we were recording a promo.
Nick Caesar gives it 2.5 stars. And he said,
yes,
it's like Ned Flanders made a Tales from the Crypt for $20.
Yep.
I love that description.
Honestly,
love it.
I was talking to Joseph yesterday, and he said that he wanted to use that as a pull quote.
Yeah, put it on the Blu-ray. Put it on the poster. Like,
yeah.
Please.
Yeah. No, I'm all for it. Like, we absolutely want to do it.
Much.
We absolutely want to do it. Yeah.
I think I was making my daughter dinner when I read that, and like I had to stop cutting her sandwich and laugh for like probably 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah, no, Joseph and I were literally recording something that's going to be it. If you follow the Endless Elsewhere podcast, this will have dropped on your feed already. But we're recording
listen to that.
We're recording a promo. It's dropping tomorrow as of the date of this recording.
Oh fuck.
Or tonight, maybe. I don't know. Check now. Maybe it's up there.
I'm looking.
But we were recording something yesterday for that, and in between recordings, we were going through the Letterboxd reviews to see if there were any new ones, and I read him that one, and we both just fucking lost it. We had such a fun laugh over that. So yeah,
perfect.
It was a good time.
Yeah, that's great.
It was great.
Quite enjoyed. I had to mention that just because when you were talking about we're on Letterboxd and shit, I hadn't thought about it since then. I've been doing other shit.
Yeah.
Had to watch this terrible fucking movie.
You did. So did I. We both did. Both of us did. We know Brett's probably not watching it.
Oh, lucky.
Lucky guy. What a
I'd
guy.
rather be in like constant meetings all day
Right.
instead of
instead of
watching this
this
fucking
shit.
movie. Like if I could get out of watching this movie, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'd do some
100%, man.
meetings. Yeah.
100%. Absolutely.
As long as it's like catered by Jimmy John's or something.
Oh, that'd be good. Dude, I miss Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's is my jam, dude. Even since I've been a vegetarian, like you get the double provolone, extra lettuce and sprouts, dude. Cover it in mayo. Doesn't matter, dude. Because I was doing that before and I couldn't even taste the meat because there was so much provolone and sprouts and lettuce on it.
Provolone, sprouts, and lettuce, dude.
So that's no big change for me.
Right on.
Perfect.
Right
the veto, my friend.
Well, hey, that is our episode on the Night Flier. We got one more episode in the Kingening, the drawing of 3. So come back next week for that. I'm sure you have no idea what it is because we've been really bad about hinting, wink, about what that could be.
Julianne Moore is in it.
Carry on, my friends. Carry on. In the meantime, I have been your host, Stephen Foxworthy, for my co-host, Tucker, and the absent Brett Wright. Until next time, yes, we know what you had to do. We know how cold those slabs get, and yet still, we don't fucking care. Night Flier.